Good morning and Happy New Year. The sun rising on January the 1st, and wherever you're watching this, I hope it brings good things. Eileen in London, Steve watching us in Thailand, and my thanks to all those who are subscribing to the daily views from the mountain and visiting the website. You can always contact me through it, gregcarey.com, and we'll talk about all kinds of things throughout the year, but we'll continue to ask questions of the Prime Minister for now about his response and our nation's response, which is being viewed all around the world and found wanting, to the terrible tragedy at Bondi Beach. Unprecedented and just horrible, as has been the response by the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister continues to say he's listening and he wants unity in the country, but he's not listening and he's creating disunity because the one group he should be listening to most is the Jewish community. They've been the victims of 2 years of rabid anti-Semitism, about which the government has done next to zero. And of course, they were the victims of the wretched attack at Bondi Beach. Yesterday, 24 senior Jewish bodies released a statement asking the Prime Minister to call a Royal Commission. But the Royal Commission isn't going to happen. PM just keeps saying it's not necessary. One of the excuses, and we talked about it last week, he used was that John Howard didn't call a Royal Commission after the terrible events in Port Arthur. Well, there's just no comparison. It was so disingenuous for a supposedly smart bloke. It just made no sense. Because as John Howard said yesterday, there was a huge difference. In Hobart, it was a lone assassin, deranged. It was very different at Bondi Beach. It was planned. They knew exactly what they were doing. So there was a huge difference. And the other difference is this, that John Howard saw what needed to be done, in his opinion, after that. That was to have a gun buyback. And in the face of huge opposition, a lot of it from his own party, he did that. He pushed it through. So there is no comparison. Yesterday, General Peter Lay, one of our most respected military men, came forward and also called for a Royal Commission, said it was totally necessary, and he criticised implicitly the Prime Minister's response, saying that you can't just address the security agencies, you've got to address the fundamental reasons for the attack, and that's anti-Semitism, and why it's been allowed to grow and spread. General Lay said, and I need to quote it, "The Royal Commission needed to probe parts of Australia where those who favour radical Islamism or fundamentalism are trying to change the nature of society. I don't think we're considering," he said, "the nature of fundamental Islamists and those who favour ISIS are some of the worst." Now, he's speaking the obvious, but it's an obvious that the Prime Minister refuses to acknowledge. And in doing that, he reminds me of one of my favourite all-time TV characters, Sergeant Schultz. Do you remember Sergeant Schultz from Hogan's Heroes all those years ago? Fantastic TV show. And Sergeant Schultz was the fellow who he didn't want to know what was going on. Colonel Klink was over here, and the bad guys were coming in all the time. And Sergeant Schultz said, "I know nothing. I see nothing." And it's all right in endearing TV character, but you wouldn't want him running the country. Have a good day and a great year.